The Skraby Show starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Hello and welcome into the Skraby Show for Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. Had to go recheck the year real quick for some reason. It's been 2024 for, 11 months at this point, so I should know what year it is. But we are in 2024, and we have a lot to talk about tonight. We have a lot of free agency to talk about. We have a lot of Roki Sasaki to talk about. We also have some of the finalists for the Major League Baseball awards. Also, we're going to talk about right field for the Padres in 2025, which really consists of just Fernando Tatis Jr., but we'll go over that, and we'll also talk about some random stories. Whenever I see this, I get a little weirded out by it, but I saw an article or just a blog post really with MLB fans mad at Jackson Merrill because of something he did to a baseball card. I will tell you about that when we get there, but I don't really understand why people get so mad about it. Maybe someone can help me. Also, you can watch on YouTube. I know we're having a little bit of problem with the YouTube channel during the Gwen and Chris show, but it seems to be back right now. So if you want to go watch on YouTube, you can just search 97.3 The Fan. You will see the live banner right there at the top, so you can click that and come and watch the show as well. Please let me know what's on your mind tonight. Just come on into the chat. There are plenty of people there, and it's very warm, as they say. Come on in, it's warm. There were lots of things that we talked about during Gwen and Chris, and one of the things that I think I want to revisit real quick, and I can't believe I'm starting the entire show with Georgia football, but I do think Kirby Smart maybe was a little out of line for what he said, and I'm going to pull up what Kirby Smart said, because if you missed the Big Five, we were talking about how a Georgia football player was caught celebrating with Ole Miss, and it was them jumping up and down. It turned out to be a long lost friend from high school. But here is what Kirby Smart said to the reporters who were asking about it.
Kirby, there's a video on social media of Jake Pope seemingly celebrating with some Ole Miss fans on the field after the game. Just wanted to see if you had seen that and what your reaction to it was.
Yeah, what an idiot. Just stupid. I didn't see it till today, but he's embarrassed about it. He's upset about it. That's obviously a childhood friend of his. He grew up, played with there at Buford, and knows him, hadn't seen him in forever, but just not real smart. But to be honest with you, I don't have time to waste energy on that. You know what I'm saying? Like my focus is on Tennessee. I'm not worried about that.
So he called him an idiot, and I know we were having fun with it on the show, and it is, something that you don't see a coach saying often. But the more I think about it, the more I think that Kirby Smart is in the wrong for this, because this isn't a big deal. He even says it at the end. I don't have time to think about this. But you definitely had time to throw him under the bus, which he did, and he did it well. And I really, with all the issues that have gone on around the Georgia football program over the years, this is not one of them that I think is something that he should be coming down so hard on. There are some serious accusations being made to Georgia football or about Georgia football over the years. And I didn't hear that response once. Now, I haven't watched all of the Kirby Smart press conferences, but it seems like he went further to about a kid who was celebrating with a kid or a friend from high school than he did for some of these actually serious things that involve the police and involve a death. So I don't think that Kirby Smart was wrong for addressing it. I do think it was wrong to address it like he did. This is not a big deal in the scheme of things. Maybe it's a big deal because, it is a big deal within the team and within Georgia fans. But really, this guy was just talking, this player was just talking to his long lost friend. I don't know why they were jumping up and down, but Kirby Smart had the hot take to say that, but he didn't ever have hot takes about things that are actually serious in his in his press conferences. And I think that's a little misguided right there. I wish Kirby Smart maybe would have taken a different approach on this. Also, college players are somewhat amateurs. They are getting paid now. but he's not a professional. Even in the NFL, you have guys smiling, you got guys talking and chatting and stuff. I really don't know why this irked me so much after we started talking about it, but it did irk me, and I felt like I needed to get that off of my chest. All right, let's go into this.
It's time to get caught up on the latest with the news of the day.
So we have two news stories of news of the day, and the first news story is going to be about Roki Sasaki, the Japanese pitcher, 23-year-old phenom, throws over 100, is very sought after by most of the teams in Major League Baseball. Now he's coming over at a time when his contract is not going to be Yoshinobu Yamamoto, like $300 million. He's going to be affordable for most teams, and I think most teams are going to be in on him, but there are certain things I think the Padres have a hand up on, and one of those things is Yu Darvish being on the team, and one of those things is Hideo Nomo being a part of the Padres organization. Two very legendary names right there, Yu Darvish and Hideo Nomo. And if you're a kid who's grown up playing baseball in Japan, you're not I mean, you know who Shohei Ohtani is. You're very impressed with Shohei Ohtani, but you're probably growing up, and the players that you were looking up to were Yu Darvish and possibly even Hideo Nomo. I don't know if Sasaki saw much of Nomo when he was growing up, but I know Yu Darvish was pitching, and Yu Darvish has the ability to talk to this kid and bring him to the Padres. I really want Roki Sasaki on this team. I do. And I some of the things that have been said about him as well, that he's open to a smaller market. He wants to go to a team that develops players well. Well, the Padres have the best pitching coach in major leagues with Ruben Niebla, and they have a manager of the year candidate in Mike Schilt. But I really think that this isn't just us saying, hey, they're in on him. I think that there's a good chance that they can land the big fish, which is Roki Sasaki. And in the article by Dennis Lin in The Athletic, he said it also feels noteworthy that Sasaki, his representation is expected to include Darvish's longtime agent Joel Wolf, who publicly praised Preller for his handling of Darvish's situation. Given the sometimes adversarial world of GM-agent relationships, the gesture was not typical. So you have a lot of things working in the direction of the Padres getting Roki Sasaki. Now, there's also a lot of, rumors that he'll go to the Dodgers, but that's not really that's a safe bet to assume that the Dodgers are going to try to make a run at him. They also have, Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, but I'm really hoping that Sasaki can look into San Diego and really be, really give it a chance before he ends up, going up the road to LA or something like that. But here on MLB Network, Jensen Lewis, he was on MLB Network Radio talking about why the Padres are going to be in on this.
There will be, I think, some significant leverage from other Japanese-born players, most notably Yu Darvish in San Diego. As we well know, Jenny, that is a fabulous place to pitch, Petco Park. Very spacious, very enjoyable for many arms that have been able to go there and experience that. Not taking anything away from Chavez Ravine at night, because it is a little bit more difficult for hitters to lift the ball and have it travel. But when you're thinking about different Japanese-born players that will have an opportunity to get in front of Sasaki, if they haven't already, Yu Darvish commands about as much respect as any Japanese-born player in the modern era. So San Diego will be in there. There will be, I think, some significant leverage from other Japanese-born players, most notably Yu Darvish.
I didn't realize that started over, just kept playing, but there you go. Everything that we've talked about today is also being talked about by MLB experts out there. So we'll keep an eye on this for everybody and see what happens with Roki Sasaki. But it's safe to say that it would be pretty amazing if he was able to come to the Padres, because the Padres need a big break like that to get a player that's going to possibly change the entire franchise around. Maybe give him that edge that puts him over the top into the World Series. Dominic says, not trying to be negative, but I think we need to prepare ourselves for disappointment and just be surprised if we get him. I can understand that. I was talking to someone earlier, and we were talking about crazy Padre signings, and I think the craziest Padre signing that I could think of would have been Manny Machado. I don't think anyone expected Manny Machado to come to San Diego. I don't think anyone expected Manny Machado to stay in San Diego for as long as he has and as long as he will. But I understand that sentiment, Dominic. I do. I understand keeping expectations low so that when news does come down, it's not as much of a disappointment. Yeah, that's it. I can't read that blue meanie. It's got swear words in it. The second news story is actually the finalists for the Major League Baseball awards. Now, they were announced, and there was a couple interesting things. First, I should say the Silver Slugger awards were given out today. Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill, and Jurickson Profar all won Silver Slugger awards. So that's pretty good. I mean, at some point, Tony said this earlier. Can you imagine if Fernando Tatis Jr. won a Silver Slugger? It would have been a Jurickson Profar, Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis Jr. outfield for the Silver Slugger award. And if you don't know what the Silver Slugger is, it's the best hitter at each position in regards to managers and coaches voting, and they can't vote for their own player. So that was a very good thing to see. 3 Padres with Silver Sluggers handed out today. Again, Jackson Merrill, Jurickson Profar, and Manny Machado. But the finalists for the National League Rookie of the Year, Paul Skeens, Jackson Merrill, and Jackson Chourio, I agree with all 3 of those finalists. I really do. Here is the part where I don't agree, is that Skeens was also named for the National League Cy Young, and you got Zach Wheeler and you got Chris Sale. Now, most people think Chris Sale of the Braves is going to win the Cy Young Award. But I could totally see the media, which, again, we talked about this earlier. It's very strange how Silver Slugger Awards, Gold Gloves, or Silver Slugger Awards are voted on by coaches. And the Cy Young Award MVP is voted on by media, which makes no sense to me because the other the Cy Young and the MVP are more important than a Silver Slugger. So I would say you could take a lot from them winning the Silver Sluggers because that was voted on by their peers. But Paul Skeens being a part of the National League Cy Young, it just seems like they're trying to shoehorn his name into the conversation. Contrary to popular belief, everybody, I am a media hater of the coverage of Paul Skeens. I am not a Paul Skeens hater. If anything, I like Paul Skeens because he lived up to the hype. And he lived up to the hype in his rookie year. We see so many highly touted guys not do anything at the pro level after being talked about. And Paul Skeens did, and that is great for baseball. However, if he can't qualify for the statistical awards because he didn't pitch enough innings, then how can he qualify for the biggest award as a pitcher, which is the Cy Young? I just don't get it. He only pitched 133 innings. I know that he was very good, and I know that Pirates fans are very mad at me, but I just cannot see him win a National League Cy Young. That would be interesting. That would be very interesting to see the reaction to that because I think that would be a major surprise. And kind of like what Dominic said about Roki Sasaki, I am setting my expectations very low for the National League Rookie of the Year award and Jackson Merrill actually winning it. Now, do I think he is? Hands down, he's the Rookie of the Year for the National League. Hands down. But do I think that he's going to win? I have a strange feeling he's not going to win. But you never know. You never know. And we will sit here all day and we will celebrate that when it happens. And that's November 18th, I believe, is the Rookie of the Year award. So lots of candidates and finalists for these end of the year MLB awards. And if you want to go see the rest, you can go to MLB.com. They have them all listed for you there. All right. That is the news of the day. When we get back, I want to talk about Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field, but I also Want to pose the question, could Ethan Salas be in the mix for the big league roster next season? We'll talk about it when we get back on the Skraby Show on 97.3 The Fan. If you'd like
Great shot. Great shot. Great shot. Perfect shot. Eagle. Great shot. Great shot. Great shot. Perfect shot. Eagle. Great shot. Great shot.
That's Skraby, the Skraby Show, 97.3 The Fan. Thank you for sticking around with me, closing out the day of sports talk here. Lots of free agency news in baseball. Lots of Roki Sasaki news in baseball. But I want to talk about, before we get into Ethan Salas and before we get into Fernando Tatis Jr., I would really like to not, I don't want to be a hater during this, and I know this is going to be a little out there, but I've been thinking about it for a little bit now, and I think it's time for me to say it. I think I'm blaming the wrong people in this instance for what could become a super team in the Dodgers or the Mets or the Yankees, because I think the media has a bigger role to how MLB goes forward with super teams. And the reason I was thinking about this, because over the weekend I was on Twitter and I was seeing all these different news and notes about things, about how, the Dodgers were in on Roki Sasaki. And it really, it kind of maybe clicked in my own head. I don't know if it's going to click in anybody else's head, but all I see from the media is, this is great. The Dodgers are in on Roki Sasaki. And I don't know why I'm looking directly at Jeff Passan when I'm thinking about this. Jeff Passan seems like a guy who is not afraid to share his opinion, and not afraid to share his opinion if it's not favorable for Major League Baseball. And someone like Jeff Passan, now I'm not saying Jeff Passan's doing anything wrong, but someone like Jeff Passan could have impact on how Major League Baseball talks about these super teams going forward. Instead of just reporting the news and saying, isn't this great? I would like for one of these reporters to bring up the fact that it's kind of crazy that the Dodgers and the Mets are just in on every single high-priced player. And again, I don't want to seem like I'm coming off as a hater, but I don't know. I think the national media needs to take a stance of, hey, baseball is better when there are lots of teams that are good and not just 1, 2, or 3 teams being good. And some can say that the Padres have some sort of a super team. But when I'm talking super teams, I'm talking about high-priced, lots of money being spent, like the Dodgers over $1 billion. The Mets are reportedly in on Juan Soto for over $600 million. But the media could have an impact. And I would stand behind a reporter who is fighting the good fight against Major League Baseball, because if the reporters are talking about it, that means more of the fans are going to talk about it, and that means that Major League Baseball has to do something about it. So there is that kind of out there thought, but I really am blaming the wrong people. I'm blaming everyone except for who should be blamed, and that should be the media. The media is clearly a part of this, thinking it's great whenever Shohei Ohtani does anything, but I would like to see them report in a little bit of a different direction. Maybe take the stance of, hey, I want to see all the teams have a chance and not just one team have a chance. Let's see. Nate says the media is out for clicks, not real news now. They have too much control and guide what what to feel. That is true. But it's also up to us to kind of block the telling us how to feel thing. We can always feel how we feel, but if you would like to take, if you would like to go with one of the reporters because they know more than you, just look at different reporters. Look at many different reporters. Get the opinion and see if you can back them. But I think national media needs to just really step it up a little bit and start talking about this super team issue that could become in Major League Baseball. I'm having a really hard time talking tonight. It's been a lot of talking today. I've been a lot of defending today. And so maybe that's why I'm not being able to talk as well. Rod said, Ohtani is due up in 132 days. Thank you, Rod. I needed that. If I didn't get that, I would never, ever, ever know. Breaking news before we get into the Padres stuff. Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, and Penn State are the top 4 teams in the second ranking of the college football playoff rankings. So Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, and Penn State. None of those teams really excite me, but college football in itself doesn't really excite me. I can't keep up with it. There's too many players going too many places. Anyway, we've already talked about this a million times. But let's talk about something that's fun, like Ethan Salas, because I was reading a lot about him over the weekend, and he is having a great Arizona Fall League. Basically, ever since he got to the Padres, he has been playing well, and I don't know when he's going to make his debut. But I think that's without. I don't want him to make his debut in 2025 because that would mean major injury happened to the catcher position. But right now, he's tied for third in the Arizona Fall League with 19 RBIs and an OPS of 815. I really do. I think we see him on the Padres in 2025 again. No. Do I see him being brought up there as injury? Not sure. Do I think he will be every bit as exciting as we think? Yes, I do. He's already proving it to me at the lower levels, and he's already, the Arizona Fall League is kind of like a showcase for the younger prospects. And so you have the best of the best of the best in the Arizona Fall League for the level that you're at. And Ethan Salas is doing great things at that level. So is Leo Dallas DeVries. Now, he is a little bit further off, I think, but he's playing good shortstop, and he's also hitting right now. But if Salas does debut before June 1st of 2026, here's a little thing that you can put in your hat, or a little feather in your cap. He would become the first catcher to make his debut as a teenager since Ivan Rodriguez did in 1991. Of course, we know Pudge went on to become a 14-time Major League All-Star and a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame. So I think that Salas is going to turn some heads at this spring training, and I think he's going to make the decision for the Padres on when he debuts a little bit. He's going to make his debut. It's going to make their decision a little bit tougher because I think Padres don't want to see him for a little bit. They don't want to start his major league clock yet. But if they have to, I think that he's showing that he can possibly handle it. I don't know that he's going to be making his debut in 2025. He plays a very important position. He plays a very intricate position, and he still has a lot to learn. And then he also has to learn at the big league level. So, he's still got a ways to go. But what we're seeing, all indications are that he is going to be the guy that the Padres thought they were getting. And same with Leo Dallas DeVries. So Ethan Salas is someone to watch. He really is. And I think many people need to start paying attention to what he's doing because we're going to see him at the big league level sooner rather than later, I think. All right, so right field for the Padres in 2025. It's a pretty easy thing to talk about. It's Fernando Tatis Jr. He's coming off, 2 years ago, he had a platinum glove season. Last year, he didn't really play enough games to be involved in the gold glove or the platinum glove. I think the biggest question about Fernando is whether or not he can stay healthy. And this year, he did not stay healthy. He missed a good chunk of the middle of the season. And when he came back, he was good. He was definitely Fernando. But injuries and health and missing games has been a part of Fernando Tatis Jr.'s career. And if he wants to be one of the greatest of all time, he's going to have to start staying in more than just 100 games. He has to be in the 140, 150, maybe even, I don't know that he's ever going to play 162, but he could. I really think that the key for him is just to keep that consistency of being on the field day in and day out, because he even said when he was rehabbing, it wasn't that. It's rehabbing from injury is not great. You're kind of just pushed off into your own little corner, and you have to do your rehab alone, and hopefully you get to a point where you're going to rejoin the team. But defensively, Fernando, I think we know what he can do. And I think that last year there was not a regression in right field, but I think there was there were some periods of time where he did not play a good right field, but for the most part he did, and he's going to have to clean that up a little bit. Last year he had 5 errors Yes, 5 errors in right field. So you think that's not, too crazy, but coming off of his Platinum Glove season, he had 6 errors. So, that's 5 errors is not the worst in the world, but he wasn't throwing guys out and he didn't have much impact because again, he was gone and he wasn't able to be in the lineup. And that's again, the biggest question about Fernando, whether or not he could stay healthy. The rest of it, I have no questions about. I think that Fernando knows at this point in his career what it takes to be a great player. And I think at this point in his career, he knows what his work needs, what needs to be done in the offseason to get ready for a full season. And, he's the last couple of years, he hasn't really had a real spring training. And so he's going to get that this year. They're not going to Korea. They're not all of that is not going to happen. They're going to be in spring training. They're going to have a regular schedule, and that probably means nothing, but I guess I'm giving a little bit of credence to it because I know I'm a creature of habit, and I know things are easier when I know what's going to happen when I get there. I think I explained it a couple weeks ago. Like when we do remote broadcasts, it's always kind of weird doing it for the first time because I don't know where to go. I don't know where to set up, what it looks like, if I'm going to have the sun in my eyes. And I'm going to have Jerry Jones put up some drapes when I get the sun in my eyes, as much as the guys don't think that Jerry Jones needs to put up drapes. But I think having a regular spring training is going to help just a little bit. So there you go. One of the easier position breakdowns in 2025. The backup, I have a feeling that David Peralta is going to be back with this team unless he gets big money elsewhere. I don't know that he will, but the backup is the backup, and we'll deal with that as we go because they probably already have it on the team. They're not going to bring in someone specifically to back up Fernando Tatis Jr., so we'll have to see where that goes in the offseason, the winter meetings, all of that stuff. You're listening to The Skraby Show. I'm Matt Skraby. If you want to follow me on social media, you can at Matt Skraby, MattSkrab, as in boy, Y. You could also go and see the sweatshirt that I created. If you go to YouTube, it says, well, this is just great, everybody. It came from here. Well, this is just great, everybody. When I got stuck on the radio and there were no commercials to be played weeks and months ago. So you can go to the YouTube and see the link there if you just search 97.3 The Fan. When we get back, I'm going to tell my possum story because I didn't get to tell my opossum story. So we'll get into the opossum story, and we'll also talk about Jackson Merrill and what he did to anger so many baseball card collectors. All of that's next on The Skraby Show, 97.3 The Fan. Skraby back with you here in the Odyssey Palace 97.3 The Fan. Coming up on the final segment of the show. Thank you to everybody who has joined us tonight. We've talked about Roki Sasaki. We've talked about the free agency. We talked about MLB award winners. We talked about Padres Silver Sluggers, which again are Manny Machado, Jurickson Profar, and Jackson Merrill. And here is how rare it is for a Padre to get a Silver Slugger award. Machado actually won his first Silver Slugger in 2020, along with Fernando Tatis Jr. Then Tatis was also honored in 2021, but before 2020, the Padres' last Silver Slugger was Chase Headley in 2012. So it took 8 years for the Padres to get another player a Silver Slugger. So it's been happening almost every year since then, since 2020. In 2022, strange enough, Juan Soto, Brandon Drury, and Josh Bell, all players that were traded for, won Silver Sluggers. And then Soto won a Silver Slugger in 2023 for the Padres. So you have every single year someone winning a Silver Slugger since 2020. And that, to me, speaks of growth. And that, to me, speaks of a team that is figuring it out, building it, putting the pieces together to be in contention every single year. And they were in contention this year. Season did not come to an end like we wanted to. But hey, I will continue to be excited about going forward. I'm really excited about next season. I know that some people are still, kind of having trouble with how the season ended, but really look ahead and realize what the Padres have in front of them. Now there needs to be some roster stuff that happens, and AJ Preller needs to build a team that's going to be competing for a World Series next season, but I don't see why he can't. But I just wanted to share that since 2020, or before 2020, the last Silver Slugger winner was Chase Headley in 2012. I hate to go back to this, but I'm going to go back to this. I was searching MLB Network, just trying to find anything about Roki Sasaki and just talking about Sasaki so I can learn some more about him. But I came across a clip. It's way too long to play. But John Heyman is reporting that the Dodgers are the favorites to land Roki Sasaki, but the Padres could have a shot. This is what I'm talking about in the media. When if you didn't hear, I opened up the show kind of saying I think that the media is to blame for some of these super teams coming together because there is no pushback on it. The MLB Network clip that's being shown is already putting together the potential 2025 Dodgers rotation. And that is what I'm talking about. Where instead of being like, hey, this rotation is ridiculous, you should only have it in a video game, I would like to see other teams be in on Roki Sasaki too. But they put up instead the rotation, and they've already thrown Walker Buehler in the garbage, which I wouldn't mind having Walker Buehler here in San Diego. I know that he's not maybe the most friendly face around, but I think Walker Buehler is a guy who likes to win wherever he goes, and I think he would like to stick it to the Dodgers if they did not want to re-sign him. But here's what their potential 2025 rotation is saying. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani, Roki Sasaki, Tyler Glasnow, Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May would be the six that would be starters. And that is unfortunate if it does end up like that. But even MLB Network is pushing the narrative that this is good. I don't know why. I guess I don't think there's actually a conspiracy behind it, but I do think that it does look bad when the Dodgers get everyone. And again, it sounds like I'm complaining about the Dodgers, but I think many people out there they feel the same way. Dodgers being the subject of it or not. If it was another team, I'd be saying the same thing, and I would be saying that about the Mets too, if the Mets were in on everyone as well. Jack says, better than my MLB The Show pitching staff. That is true. That is 100% true. So instead of the MLB Network saying, hey, this is what the rotation can look like, can you imagine what this would be? I would like for them to say something like, hey, I want Roki Sasaki to go to the Padres, or I want Roki Sasaki to go to the Mariners, or I want him to go to the Rangers. I just don't want to hear it anymore every single time. Oh, well, Dodgers got him. That's what's going to happen, everybody. Dodgers got him. And I know I sound like I'm, complaining, which I kind of am. And I know that I sound like sour grapes. I don't know if I said that correctly or if I used that correctly, but sour grapes sounds like something I am right now. I would like to see something change going forward. All right, let's get into some of the other stories. And I will say the possum story. Opossum. I keep saying possum. It's not a possum. It's an opossum. But on Saturday, I believe it was. Saturday. I heard Lucky, my dog, and my parents' dogs going nuts in the backyard. And so I went outside and I didn't take my phone. I wish I would have taken my phone because I would have videoed every part of this and everybody would have heard me freaking out. But I hear them barking at something and I'm like, it sounded like a different type of bark. I think dog owners know when they hear their dog what type of bark their dog is giving off. Is it a play bark? Is it a mean bark? Is it a we're threatened bark? All of that. Well, I went outside to go check on it, and I was looking at them, and they were on the hill, and they were like all three looking at something in the middle. I couldn't see what was in the middle. I was like, what are they doing? Is there like a rat or something? Because that is something that they do. They chase after the rats on the hill and stuff. But I walked over there and there was an opossum sitting there, and it was very upset, and it was very angry. It looked like this. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you'll think it's funny, but if you want to watch on YouTube, you can a little bit later. Just go and search 97.3 The Fan. But the whole time, it just looked at me like, where his mouth is open, kind of like hissing at me a little bit. And this thing, I'm sorry to all you opossums that are listening right now, but it was ugly. It looked mangy. It looked disgusting. So I went to Twitter, and I got some great stuff on Twitter. Which, by the way, I went to Twitter instead of Google because I got a few questions. Why don't you just Google these questions? Well, A, I want to get the San Diego perspective on everything, and B, people know more about this stuff and what to do than Google will tell me. It'll just tell me the generic thing, but people in San Diego and listeners are going to give me a little bit more of yeah, you get what I'm saying. But anyway, so the opossum was on the hill. They were all barking at it, and I went up to go and try to get them away from the opossum. They did not want to get away from the opossum. They wanted to eat the opossum. I'll just say it. They wanted to eat the opossum. I wasn't going to let that happen. So what I did was, and again, I wish I had my phone so I could video all of this, but my parents have a pool, and there was a big pool cleaner thing, one of those metal poles with the net on the end so you can scoop stuff out of the pool, which I usually use when a rat falls in the pool. I scoop it out or whatever. But I took this thing and I was trying to get my dogs to come down the hill. So I wanted to put a barrier in between the opossum and in between my dogs. Well, the dogs didn't care that the barrier was there. They were stepping over it. They were doing all that. So I started taking the net part and I started hitting them on the butt so that the dogs would walk down the hill. Miraculously, I got two of the dogs down the hill. Now my parents' puppy, he's one. He's a psycho. He would not go down the hill. So what I had to do was I had to take the little net thing and I had to put it in front of the opossum so that the opossum couldn't get to me while I was walking up the hill to get to the other dog. And the opossum looked at me and it wanted to eat me alive. I swear to you, this thing was so gross. I can't even tell you how gross this opossum was. But anyway, put the net in front of the opossum. It stayed behind me a little bit. And then I got the dog and I walked down the hill. And then I went inside, looked at the dogs to make sure that they were, they weren't hurt or anything. They weren't hurt or anything. So then I went back outside to see if I could find the opossum to try to get the opossum out of the backyard. Opossum was nowhere to be seen. So I think that the opossum is still up there on the hill, and the opossum was not looking so healthy. So I'm hoping it does not pass away on our hill. Because if it passes away on the hill, then someone's going to have to go and get it. But I don't want to, because I don't think I've ever admitted this before, but I have a irrational fear of dead things. Like, it doesn't even matter what it is. If it's a bird or if it's a rat, I have this irrational fear of dead things, and I will not and refuse to go up on that hill and get the dead opossum. It's just not going to happen. Everybody on the chat is saying that opossums get a bad rap. Opossums are great for the environment. Now, I was not going to kill this opossum. Trust me. I am not like that. I do not think that it's in anybody's right to take the life of any living thing. But I wanted to move it. I wanted to move it to the area where I guess this would be me sending it to its death if I moved it to the area with all the coyotes. But, ugh, it just kind of grosses me out. I'm not scared of rabies because I learned through Twitter that opossums their body temperature is too low, or at least what this was told to me. Their body temperature is too low, and they can't carry the rabies virus. So there you go. But that was I wish the guys were here because they would have better questions for me. But this was an ordeal. It took about 20 minutes for me to get the dogs down from the opossum. The opossum just stood there and just stood his ground and kind of hissed at us the entire way. I am not good at it. Let's see. M. McKee says they are immune from rabies? Wow. They always look kind of mangy, even the healthy ones. Yeah, they do. It's kind of sad. Oh, now McKee's starting to talk about bats. I do not want to talk about bats. All right, we just got a couple minutes left. I want to tell you about this Costco thing, and then I'm going to tell you about the Jackson Merrill baseball card thing, and then we'll do Daily Grape. The Costco has told everyone they have to recall about 80,000 pounds of butter because, I'm not kidding, the FDA made the call in October to pull almost 80,000 pounds of Kirkland Signature butter from shelves after discovering that the packaging did not specify that it, quote, contains milk. So, yes, butter. I mean, you can't make butter without milk, but they are going to throw away 80,000 pounds of butter because it says it doesn't have anything telling us that it contains milk. I mean, come on. Why are we throwing away all this stuff? It's butter. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I just don't understand it. This seems like it's costing everybody more money to recall it than it would be just to sell the butter with like a note, with like a sticky note on it. Nate says butter contains milk. No, bleep. Yeah, I agree. I can't believe they're going to be throwing away all this butter, but that's exactly what they're going to be doing. All right, Jackson Merrill, what he did with this card. This is what one fan said, quote, Jackson Merrill ruined this. And actually, I think this kind of pairs into my daily gripe.
What's annoying Skraby today? Let's find out. It's time for the Daily Gripe.
So, Jackson Merrill, Jackson Holiday, and Jackson Churio all signed like a card pack. I'm not a baseball card collector. I know that we have baseball card enthusiasts listening right now, and I'm not going to say that your hobby is lame or anything like that. I promise you. Because I have plenty of I have plenty of lame hobbies, if you were to think about it that way. That's fine. We can all have our hobbies. Not a big deal. Here's my daily gripe. When people get angry at something because it didn't look like they wanted it to look. Apparently, Jackson Merrill signed this card, and a lot of the people on Instagram our Instagram and social media are very, very upset that Jackson Merrill's autograph looks the way it does. Now, I'm looking at it, and signatures are signatures. I understand that you want a signature that people can read, but what if your signature isn't a signature that people can read? Let's see. One person said Merrill, laziest, worst signature on earth. I hear all of you with the sticker autos, but can we talk about how awful Merrill's autograph is? Jackson Merrill doesn't belong on this card with that bleepy autograph. Too bad Merrill's autograph ruined it. Hey people, you bought a card with an autograph on it. Why are you so angry about what it looks like? I don't understand. Yeah, it doesn't really... You can't read that it's Jackson Merrill. But he also... Jackson Holiday and Jackson Churio just have a bunch of scribbles too. So there's my daily gripe. People that complain about anything and everything because it's not up to their specifications. And I especially think sometimes baseball card people, especially the adult baseball card people who take it very serious, those people need to rethink things. If you're the guy who is pushing over kids to get an autograph of your baseball card and you're like 65 years old, you need to start rethinking things. Anyway, Rod says, I seen Manny's autograph. It's pretty bad, too. Trevor says, it's lame. I agree, but I still am enthusiast. Hey, no, I am not saying that baseball card collecting is lame because a lot of people do it. And you can do that. Just don't complain about the autographs. All right, that's it for the Skraby Show. Back tomorrow night. See all of you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Bennett Woods start at 6 a.m. on 97.3 The Fan.